and interfering with the brain's ability to set priorities. To help us find out what happens to people when they turn into drinkers like this, we decided to see if they would have difficulty making critical driving decisions. We won't actually let these happy people behind the wheel of a car, but we will put them behind the wheel of this computer. Not every impaired or intoxicated driver causes an accident, but each one is a potential danger, risking his or her life, as well as those sharing the road or walking the streets. While sober, our group passed this reaction test with ease. But now, after drinking, many are having trouble. Our scores show that over 25% of our group failed the reaction test of this computer car after just 1 hour of drinking. This was confirmed at our breathalyzer station, where approximately the same percentage tested higher than the legal blood alcohol content limit. These drinkers are having difficulty driving because of their brain's inability to focus on incoming messages. Watch what happens when we ask them to do more than one thing at a time. As their blood alcohol content increased, their ability to set priorities decreased. When distracted with a second task, almost all of the drivers with a blood alcohol content over the legal limit failed to make the right decision or react when necessary. Under the influence of alcohol, you are more likely to make a bad decision and take a chance. Your slowed reaction time, coupled with a bad decision, could mean real trouble and lead to an accident that should never have happened. Let's look at question 5. Answer true or false. 30 minutes after your last drink, you're able to judge whether or not you're sober enough to drive. The answer is false. Mark yourself right or wrong. Your blood alcohol content may just be peaking. In fact, it could stay high for hours. Your judgment could be impaired right through to your hangover, so it's safer to decide not to drive before you start drinking. Question 6. Answer true or false. Your blood alcohol content, or BAC, depends on what kind of alcoholic beverage you drink. The answer is false. Mark yourself right or wrong. Different types of drinks are not different in the way they affect you. If you consume a certain amount of alcohol, whether it's in beer, wine, or liquor, your blood alcohol content level will increase. It's a simple fact that the more you drink in a given period of time, the higher your BAC will be. Many drugs other than alcohol, even some over-the-counter drugs, can affect your driving ability. They can have effects similar to alcohol or even worse. Never drink alcohol while you are taking other drugs. It often multiplies the effects of the alcohol and the other drug. For example, one drink, when you were also taking an allergy or cold remedy drug, could have the same effect as several drinks. Driving while impaired by certain drugs is a misdemeanor. These drugs include, of course, illegal drugs such as marijuana, cocaine, LSD, heroin, and opium, but also some prescription drugs such as tranquilizers. Drugs can affect your reflexes, judgment, vision, and alertness in ways similar to alcohol. If you are experiencing a drug-related condition, you may wish to seek a remedy. While your body weight makes some difference, and eating before or while you drink helps slow down alcohol absorption somewhat, it cannot prevent you from becoming impaired or intoxicated if you have too many drinks. Question 7. Answer true or false. Coffee will reduce your blood alcohol content and the effects of alcohol. The answer is false. Mark yourself right or wrong. Coffee might help you stay awake, but it can't affect your blood alcohol content or make you sober. The only way to effectively reduce your BAC is to spend time without drinking. You must allow your body to absorb and dispose of the alcohol. Question 8. Answer true or false. Men process their alcohol faster than women. The answer is true. Mark yourself right or wrong. Recent studies suggest that a woman's body may process and remove alcohol from the blood more slowly than a man's. This may result in a higher blood alcohol content over a longer period of time. The majority of concerned citizens want the police to enforce alcohol or drug-related violations and the courts to be more severe with the penalties. Your chances of being caught and convicted are very high.
The procedures that are followed are set up and have been set up basically since April of 1990. And there is a set procedure that gets followed by every officer who comes in the door with a prisoner. All right? The procedures are set up so it does two things. It keeps everything in a similar manner for everybody, so there's no changes for each individual, so they can't say, well, you're doing this for him, but you're not doing it for me. All right, which keeps things calm again. And it also makes it easier for the officer who has made the arrest just to follow a simple routine, and everything is the same, so there's no changes in that routine.
Let's break away for a moment and look at some questions concerning the law. Question 9. Answer true or false. Chemical test evidence, which includes a breathalyzer test, is required to prove that you were impaired or intoxicated. The answer is false. Mark yourself right or wrong. A police officer's testimony about your appearance and behavior when arrested could provide enough evidence alone to convict you. In addition, many police cars are equipped with cameras which record the visuals as well as the audio of the violation. Question 10. Answer true or false. You may refuse to take a chemical test, which includes a breathalyzer test. The answer is true. Mark yourself right or wrong. You can refuse to take a chemical test, including a breathalyzer test, providing a court order has not been issued. If a court order is issued for chemical testing, you must submit to the test. However, if there was no court order issued, and you refuse to take a chemical test after being arrested, your driver's license will be suspended. Chemical test refusal is a separate issue from whether or not you were guilty of an alcohol or drug-related violation. Your license will be revoked for refusing the test. Many states have an implied consent law, which means if you drive in the state, you are considered to have already given your consent to take such a test. Also, the fact that you refused a chemical test may be introduced in court when you were tried on the alcohol or drug-related charge.
There are, and have been, and will continue to be, numerous kids coming through here that are 18 or 19 years old who are being arrested for drinking and driving. First of all, they shouldn't have had the alcohol in the first place because they're under 21, but they're out there drinking, and they're out there getting their drinks, all right? Whether they're getting them in bars, whether they're getting them in 7-Elevens, whether they're getting somebody else to buy it for them, it's really not relevant as far as that part's concerned. The relevant fact is the fact they are drinking, they are driving, they are being arrested for it. And it can be seen, as far as numbers inside of this place is concerned, that you do have the 19-year-olds coming through here, you do have the 20-year-olds. We've had 16 and 17-year-olds coming here. We've had some 15-year-olds come through here.
Young people who have less experience with both alcohol and driving are at the greatest risk. Drivers 16 to 21 years old are only about 7% of the driving population, but they're involved as impaired or intoxicated drivers in 15% of all alcohol or drug-related accidents, and 18% of the fatal crashes involving alcohol or drugs.
If we get a person in here that's under 21 years of age, I'd like to see stricter enforcement as far as preventing them from having a driving license, preventing them from getting a driver's license until they become 21. So if we get a 17-year-old in here, that's it. You had a license, you now lost it. You won't see it again for another 3 or 4 years because of the reason why you were arrested in the first place.
You must consider the consequences and how to avoid them. The only sure way is not to use alcohol or drugs at all when you will be driving. Please remember that a license to drive is a privilege. Avoid the deadly combination of drinking and driving because it's simply not possible.
There are nearly 4 million miles of highways and roads in the United States, and traveling along them are 143 million registered vehicles, 39 million light trucks, 6 million large trucks, and more than 70,000 buses. But much too frequently, we witness mishaps like this. Although the number of people killed or injured in traffic incidents is lower than it has been for 30 years, our highways still should be safer. We shouldn't have to annually spend nearly $15 billion in health care costs, totaling over $150 billion when you add vehicle, property, and economic costs as a result of traffic accidents. What we should be spending is more time displaying safe and courteous driving skills. Let me ask you a question. You're driving on a 2-lane road. Suddenly an oncoming car pulls out to pass. You're dangerously close to a head-on collision. Would you know what to do in that situation? Unfortunately, many people don't, sending their cars to graveyards like this, and themselves to another kind altogether. Let me ask you another question. What part of the car causes the most accidents? The answer, of course, is the driver. Over 75% of all traffic accidents are caused by mistakes made by the operator. And since over 160 million of us drive, we would like to take the next few moments to share some important information that just might save your life, as well as someone else's. It's a test of your driving knowledge, consisting of 25 questions which highlight the signs of safe driving. But more important, it's a way you can help reduce the staggering number of accidents and deaths in this country. So let's get started. The next few questions deal with the rules of the road. Let's start by taking a ride. It's a nice day, and we're in no rush. You might be taking the kids to school, going to the market, or possibly going to work. Well, you've been behind the wheel for a few moments now, so let's see how observant you are. Question 1. What was the last traffic sign you passed? Give up? Well, let's take the drive over again. The last sign you passed was this school crossing sign. If you missed this sign, you're not alone. More than 75% of the drivers could not remember this sign. If you correctly answered, give yourself 4 points. Question 2. Which of the following must you obey over the other 3? A. A steady red light. B. A flashing red light. C. A stop sign. D. A police officer. The correct answer is D. A police officer. Directions given by traffic officers take precedence over signs, signals, or pavement markings. For example, if a traffic officer signals you to stop at a green light, you must stop. Likewise, if an officer signals you to drive through a red light or stop sign, you must do so. Among those authorized to direct traffic are police officers, peace officers such as on-duty auxiliary or fire police, highway work area flag persons, and school crossing guards. If you answered correctly, give yourself 4 points. Okay, time for question number 3. Solid and broken lines mark the lane on the left on each side. What is this lane used for? A. Passing other cars. B. Left turns. C. Driving around to avoid congestion. D. Momentary stopping. The correct answer is B. Left turns. If you answered B, give yourself 4 points. A lane marked with solid and broken lines on each side is used for beginning or ending a left turn. Don't use it for anything other than preparing to make or completing left turns. Question 4. When approaching a stopped school bus with flashing red lights, what should you do? A. Come to a complete stop, then continue carefully. B. Come to a stop and wait, moving only after the lights are no longer flashing and the bus is moving. C. Slow down and pass the bus carefully. D. Come to a complete stop only if you see kids around. The correct answer is B. Come to a stop and wait, moving only when the lights are no longer flashing and the bus is moving. Again, if you answered correctly, give yourself 4 points. Before a school bus stops, the operator will flash yellow warning lights. When you see them, slow down and be prepared to stop. After stopping for a school bus, watch for children along the side of the road. Also keep in mind that this law also applies to vehicles transporting disabled persons. Question 5. This question has 4 parts worth 1 point each. These questions concern right-of-way rules, or who should yield in certain situations. Part 1. There's a 4-way stop intersection, and cars A and B arrive at the same time. Who should yield? Car A or car B? The answer, car A. The car arriving first has the right-of-way, but when both cars arrive at the same time, the car on the left should yield to the car on the right. In the next situation, Part 2, 2 cars are facing each other, both turning onto the same street. Who should yield the right-of-way, car A or car B? The answer is car A should yield. The car making the left turn should yield to all oncoming traffic. Part 3. A car approaches an unregulated intersection where a pedestrian starts to cross. There is no marked crosswalk. Who should yield, the pedestrian or the car? The car should yield to the pedestrian at any intersection, even if there's no marked crosswalk. Now the final part.